Hi, I'm Corinne Hensley Delafield, and I belong to the Catawba people of the Carolinas, and I'm the coordinator for the Intertribal Resource Center. And I'd like to welcome you back to another segment of Native Voices for the iCafe series. And I will allow Elena to introduce herself.
Hi, everybody. We're so glad that you're able to join us again for another edition of Native Voices. My name is Elena Hood, and I'm the director of the Intertribal Resource Center, representing the absentee Shawnee and Choctaw Nations of Oklahoma, as well as the Pama Band of Luiseño Indians here in Southern California. And we're really excited today to introduce you to one of our graduate students, Juan Reynoso, who is from the San Pasqual Band of Kumeyaay Nation. And he's going to do a little history and share a little bit about the Kumeyaay Nation with us today. Juan?
Thank you, Elena. Thank you, Corinne. Hauka Benyamat. Hi, everyone. My name is Juan Reynoso. Like Elena said, I'm Ipai Kumeyaay from San Pasqual Band of Kumeyaay Indians. And I'm super stoked today to be able to kind of share a little bit about my specific tribe and my people. So as Elena mentioned, I'm from the Kumeyaay Nation. We also known as Ipai or Tipai, which is basically the same thing. So Ipai Tipai means the people. And collectively, the Kumeyaay Nation, we represent 13 individual clans or tribes within San Diego County. When I introduced myself in Kumeyaay or Degano language. So it says, Hauka Benyamat, Mema Yu the Menuwe, Winesh Chui Juan Reynoso, Mati Pai Kumeyaay, San Pasqual Copai, Waipok Shimok. So just basically saying, hi, my name is Juan Reynoso. I'm from San Pasqual. I am Ipai Kumeyaay, and my clan name is Waipok. Typically, when we introduce ourselves in settings with other Native folks or very formal settings, we like to start with that. Mukenyuwe, this is a little bit of my family. I thought we'd introduce kind of, just kind of informal. Here is my direct family, my mom, my sister, my triplet niece and nephews, and then some of my relatives, my Hisha, my cousins, my sister, my Pasan, and my grandma. Both of them have actually passed. My great-grandmother, who was 106 when she passed 2 years ago, and my grandmother, Della, she passed away last February, and then her sister, my Aunt Josie, who is still with us. Some of our past elders, we always honor that whenever we go. A little bit about the Kumeyaay Nation, and specifically the San Pasqual tribe where I'm from. We're from a tiny little place in Valley Center, California, which is a small little rural unincorporated town in San Diego County. And we are the most northern of all of the Kumeyaay Nation. So like I mentioned earlier, we are 13 individual tribes or clans. And the San Pasqual tribe, as mentioned, we're in Valley Center, California. So we're pretty far north in proximity to our siblings, our sister and brother tribes all across San Diego County. A little bit of historical information. San Diego County itself has 18 federally recognized tribes outside of the Kumeyaay Nation collectively. And as a state as a whole, California is the most diverse with over 109 both federally recognized and non-recognized federally tribes. So I like to put that in there because we do have multiple tribal communities that still have not received federal recognition, but collectively we occupy over 109 tribal communities, which is amazing and beautiful. In terms of proximity, so the Kumeyaay Nation, we don't stop just here in San Diego County. We also, since time immemorial, have existed across the Mexican border. So our people occupied all the way up to where I showed you earlier, all the way down into Baja Ensenada, Mexico. And so, whether the border kind of keeps us out from each other, our people have internationally moved across these landscapes for thousands of years. So I always want to really be explicit about that when I show this kind of historical frame here, that our people have always lived beyond borders. This slide here kind of gives you an idea of what we were like pre-contact. It's kind of blurry, but you can see, this red line indicates the actual U.S. border, and you can see that we have again occupied all the way down into Baja, Mexico, which is a really beautiful thing that we still are in community with our Baja relatives. Just a little bit about my specific tribe and a lot of other tribal communities that have sovereignty, our relationship with the federal government. So we have our own direct relationship with the federal government. We're kind of like a state, and so we are treated as such. So we we set our own laws, we have our own constitution, but we also do follow federal guidelines as well. But we are like our own kind of country, if you want to think about our own state. A little bit about some of our practices culturally. You can see this slide here is a bunch of our women. They are bird dancing. And then we have our men here who have these rattles. They're made of gourds and they're called bird singers. We have a we had actually, it's really beautiful. Last summer, we did some activism work with some of our southern Kumeyaay relatives. And you can see that big metal border there is the U.S.-Mexican border that we had went down there and had ceremony and prayed. A lot of our community is really about solidarity and really supporting a collective nation, all 13 of us, and really being in solidarity with one another. Yes, we are individual tribal communities, but we are the Kumeyaay Nation collectively, and we really stand in that power and really support and try to be there for all of our kin and relatives across, like I mentioned earlier, both here and in Baja. Some food and cultural traditions, I always like to add a little about that. We used to, we have, it's called shawi or acorn. We used to make like a lot of other tribes do this as well, but ours is called shawi. We would crush some large acorns and make either tortillas or some type of meal out of it. This is an awi here. This is our old traditional home. So you can see up here in the right corner, some traditional basket weaving, and again, that gourd rattle. If you ever come to San Diego County, what's really beautiful about our community is, if you are at the coastal area all the way down to the desert, down into Mexico, what's really unique about our people is we have occupied all of pretty much the terrain of San Diego County. We are considered the first people of San Diego County. We've existed, archaeologists, we like to say we've been here since time immemorial. But recent historical references, stories, history show that we have been here 10,000 to 12,000 years. Or those are historical data to prove that. And what's beautiful, like I mentioned, is we have gone through those landscapes. We've learned to live in the mountains, lived in the desert, and we have kind of had this relationship with the land where we are able to come and go and follow the seasons, and it's really, really beautiful. I wanted just to share this one small minute of this little clip here to kind of just show you a little bit of, it's an older movie, it's on YouTube, a little bit about how our relationship with the land is.
When I grew up in the schools,
you might see some familiar faces.
This is hard for me to be
quite an old video,
was.
But it's still very telling.
I always sat in the back because it was kind of embarrassing, reading all these things, we're savages and we're living like less than animals and stuff like that, Now, from what I'm learning now, it's a beautiful way of life,
The natural ways are better, and using all of the plant or using, everything from an animal, that's the way to honor that and not upset the ecosystem of the earth.
Respect for our land, respect for the animals, the plants, the creator, and the past. That's a foundation to our whole culture.
So this is something that is exciting when I see all of our people come together, because our culture was like an askai, a pot, that when outsiders came, it crushed the askai, crushed the pot, and different communities, different people had a piece to that pot. But now that we're coming back together again, and we're putting this pot back together, we're putting together what we are, our culture.
Yeah, so that's pretty much, I just wanted to kind of give you a brief overview of kind of who we are as the Kumeyaay people, as the Kumeyaay Nation, how our people have occupied, like I said, all of San Diego County for thousands and thousands of years in our creation story since the beginning of time. And so I would love to welcome everyone to this county, and when you come in, and you go into your travels here, just remember to be respectful and to really hold respect and understanding for the reciprocity of the land, of the earth, and to when you share those experiences with your family and as you create, you always give thanks and always be grateful for those opportunities and the people who have come before you. So thank you so much for just allowing me to share a little bit about myself, my family, and my people. And I'm really, really blessed and honored to have this opportunity. So thank you. Ayayahan.
Thank you so much, Juan. That was a really great presentation.
Yes, thank you, Juan, for sharing. We appreciate your knowledge and your willingness to come and share. It's especially important since the university that we all work and live and play at is on the home of the Kumeyaay people. And so it's important that we have an understanding of who the people are, right? So we appreciate your sharing that. And we will be back again next week with another episode of Native Voices for iCafe. And you can always check us out at itrc.ucsd.edu. We invite you to sign up for our newsletter, find us on social media so you can stay on top of all things Native at UC San Diego. Thanks for joining us.